Welcome everyone to the Proud Warriors of Kronos.
We made it.
We have with us today a singer,
a legend,
language specialist, TV star.
No, not TV star. Just a consultant.
Just a consultant. That's still something big. Of course, you guys know we had her on the show before, and I found her when I wanted to find some Klingon music. I was looking around, and I had found her album, and I believe I got it from Amazon, and I downloaded it, and I was like, oh man, and I would listen to it every day going back and forth to work because I was really heavily into trying to understand the Klingon language, and I thought the best way to do that would be through music. And then you apparently had released, right when I had finished downloading that one, another couple of songs, and I was just really loving it. So we wanted to have you back, and this time we've got all the time in the world. We don't have to get you off anytime soon, because at first I like the guests to feel out their way here, and I don't want to bore anybody. But at the same time, yeah, I just want you to, have a great time while you're here. Tell us about your experiences. We have, of course, with me, Katala, who is the ambassador now and admin for the page for the Proud Warriors of Kronos. So let's get into it. Oh, well, let's start with, are you able, I remember last time you were here, you weren't able to really kind of talk about Prodigy.
It's true, but the season's over now, officially. So yeah, I can actually talk about. I can talk about season 1.
Okay.
I can say. I think all I can say about season 2 is that I did get to do some stuff for season 2, but I can't talk about what I did. But yeah, there's a little bit of Klingon in season 2, and it's pretty cool. But season 1 was really interesting. It wasn't a heavy lift. Like there weren't a lot. There wasn't a lot that I had to do for it. But what I did get to do was pretty cool. And there was not all of what I translated ended up in the show. Which was also kind of interesting. I got brought into the process really kind of late. So because of that, pretty much the whole show had already been animated, and all of the main voiceover had already been recorded as well. So all the lines, like all the Klingon that I did, was actually like, it was all punched in like after the fact in these separate little recording sessions. And so some of the crazy fun stuff that I got to do, I had to mouth match a cartoon, which is really funny because like everything, I've heard stories from Mark Okren, from my friend Robin, who did the Klingon language for Discovery, and Alan was also did Discovery, and and other folks who have done some language consulting. And so I've heard about some of the challenges of, and crazy things that they've had to do for the TV shows and Mark for the films. And I feel like I got like a crash course in every weird situation that like comes up, despite the fact that I only had to do like, 10 to 15 lines. They managed to throw like everything at me. So getting to mouth match the cartoon, I actually got to see this like teeny tiny little clip of the show before it aired, because they needed a word in Klingon that matched the what had already been animated. Fortunately, it was a swear word, so it was very easy. I love the fact that I got to teach the children how to swear in Klingon. I'm terrible. I am truly, truly terrible. I have a really bad potty mouth. I can usually rein it in for stuff like this. But yeah, I'm terrible. And so the fact that I got to teach kids how to swear in Klingon just made me so delighted. But it was a swear, and it was, and the mouth movement was kind of wide, and it was clearly two syllables. And so I was like, ooh, reicha, done. And so I think that actually shows up in the episode that's the Kobayashi Maru episode. If you've watched Prodigy, it's a really cool episode. The one of the main characters, Dahl, is trying to, he's kind of really full of bluster, and Janeway is trying to kind of kick him down a couple pegs, and it ends up, he ends up trying to, he's like, oh, I'm going to go learn how to be a captain. And so he's like, oh, I'll do the Kobayashi Maru. And, everybody's like, okay, holographic Janeway is like, good luck. And so what's really fun about that episode is that they end up pulling in like a lot from like the original series. They pull in Spock's voice. They pulled in from like all of these other things, and it's this really beautiful tribute to just all of Star Trek. And it becomes like, within the context of the show and the fact that it's for kids, that episode becomes like a crash course for kids watching in like all of these different kinds of Star Trek. So the kids in the show are learning about Starfleet, and so are the viewer, the kids who are viewing it for the first time and maybe haven't watched it. So I thought that was really cool. And yeah, and then there was that little moment of swearing in there. The big one though was the next to last episode. And in that one, there's this really cool speech that Gwyn gives, and I actually translated her entire speech. But the day of the recording session, we found out that they decided the way that they animated it was really cool. And when you watch the episode, it's basically like a camera. It starts like on her face. It starts on her face, and then the camera pans around. And when it comes back, and so she starts speaking in Klingon, and then as the camera comes around, it transitions into English. So it was really cool. So we ended up only needing like the first couple lines of that speech in Klingon, and I was like, oh, I worked so hard on that speech. So one thing that I have to find out is if I'll ever be able to, like, if like I go to a convention, if I can like share what I actually, like, the full thing that I translated. And but yeah, it was a really cool experience.
I mean,
and I got to be on the recording sessions. So yeah,
as a fan, we have another guy, we call him Big L here. He had turned me on to Prodigy, and he was like, man, I know you think it's for kids. I know it says it's for kids, but you need to watch it. And I got hooked. I watched, I think like the first 6 episodes that night, and I was like really impressed with it. I lost myself into the show.
The animation is beautiful, and like Aaron Waltke, who is one of the main producers and co-head writers, he was at a convention that I was at in November, so I got to meet him. And Bonnie Gordon, who does the voice. She does the voice of the ship computer. And we were on a panel together about Prodigy, which was so surreal. I'm like, why am I on this panel? Like, I had, I felt like I didn't do anything, but it was neat too, because, Aaron, he's been a Star Trek fan since he was a kid. His like breadth of knowledge on Star Trek and all Star Treks he's like a walking Star Trek encyclopedia, which was just listening to him talk about stuff, in that panel. I was sitting there like, oh my God, bro. Like, it has matured. I agree, Marky Mark. It has matured from season 1. Well, and what's actually interesting is they designed the show in 5-episode arcs. So technically those 20 episodes, that was season 1. It was a part 1 and a part 2 of season 1. So, even though it doesn't really feels like it was 2 10-episode seasons. It actually was technically just one season that was broken up into two arcs. I'm excited to see where the kids go in this next season. So
Yeah, I definitely am myself. So now that you're doing all of that, you know, they were talking about maybe Prodigy going to the big screen.
Really? Ooh.
Yeah. We have it right here in on our page. I can actually share it with you guys so you can see it. There it is. Let's pop it up here. Boom. Producers on season 2 difficult for their hopes for a movie.
Ooh, they have hopes for a movie. Ooh.
Yeah. I mean, I have to be honest with you. I mean, I would I would brave the way to the movie theater to see something like that at the big screen.
Yeah.
You know, we haven't really had the last Trek movie sadly didn't do as well as everybody was hoping it would do money wise, and it kills me how you have to have like $billion movies now.
Yeah.
And that's the sad part, you know. Right. Everything has to be $1 billion or it's a flop, and
if they don't, and people have really high expectations too on what it should look like, and that costs money too. So like, you know, we can't go back to, you know, some of those days of you know, cheaper movie making, and you know, and people expect star power, and so many of the folks who are in the, you know, like some of those original, like just even like Star Trek 2009 and stuff like that, like they it wasn't that they were nobodies when they got signed on, but they weren't like, some of them weren't like super huge
stars,
blockbuster stars. Well, and now they are, you know, and so it's like you can't even get Chris Pine anymore, you know, for you know, they have to come back for the love, or it's, you know, because their agents are going to be like, you got to pay them.
Well, I mean, like you said, I mean, look, he's getting ready to have a D&D movie drop.
Oh my God, I'm so excited about that.
Uhura, the lady who plays Uhura, she's been in like everything under the sun. I mean, and not to even mention the Marvel movies.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So trying to get them back with that little bit of pay that you were trying to pay them for those movies is definitely not going to fly. But I'm hoping to see a little bit more. I'm really excited for Picard, and I hate to say it's because of Worf, but that's my man. You know, I want to see him.
I know a lot of people don't like Picard. They, you know, and that's fine. You know what? You don't have to like everything, and you know, that's, nobody has to like everything. People don't have to like Prodigy. They don't have to like Discovery. I don't care. You know, it doesn't matter. I enjoy it. It's 100% fan service. Like that show, it's just fan service. Just go into it with low expectations and expect to just be tickled by the fact that you get to see Guinan and the Borg Queen, and like, and just enjoy. Just go. Just watch. Like, it doesn't all have to be like, I don't know.
Hate.
That's...
Yeah. We get it over here. I used to think that Star Wars fans were very toxic, especially after, you know, Phantom, the fandom menace. You know, they actually created a group of fans with the Star Wars logo to hate on them.
Yeah.
And then the sequels came out, and now the prequels are okay because the sequels suck, and they're, you know.
Yeah.
But
nobody's going to be happy. And the thing is that people hated Next Gen when it came out.
Yes.
Like, so I mean, like, honestly, I take any negativity towards the shows with a grain of salt.
Yeah. I think you have to. I think you have to. You know, and that's something that I learned too, that you just have to say, okay, well, you know, this is my cup of tea over here, and that's yours. If you like yours, that's fine. You know, we're just gonna, you know, I don't want to discourage anybody from watching anything, because if you stop watching, they won't produce anything.
There's that, and like, and I have a friend who the first Star Trek she ever watched was Discovery. She watched Discovery. She loved it so much. She went and watched everything. And now she's one of the biggest Deep Space Nine fans. I know. Like, you just have to just let people find it. Like, she's not any, she knows, I love Deep Space Nine. I think she still knows more about it than I do. And she only watched it in like the last year. But yeah, you can't make everybody happy.
No, unfortunately. So let's talk about some of your music.
Okay.
How many albums do you have out right now?
There are 4 EPs, so they're all like 5 to 6 songs, song EPs, extended plays. It's not really like the long play, and yeah, there's and then I have another 4 songs that I have to actually get my butt in gear and start recording. And those were the ones that got voted on during last year's charity event. So I hit all of my goals for my charity event last year, and my fundraising goal, and my final fundraising goal meant that I would release all 4 songs as an EP for anybody who donated to last year's campaign. So I have 4 more songs that I got to, like I said, I got to get my vocals recorded. The instrumentation's all done. I just have to get my vocals recorded. And yeah, there's.
Oh man, that is awesome. But I also noticed that you did your first words for your Klingon baby book.
Oh yeah, the Klingon baby's first Klingon. So that was like this really cute little book that my friend Chris helped out with. Chris Lipscomb and the Klingon Language Institute helped out with that. So it's this little children's book. It's a little cardboard. Do I have it here? I do. It's this little like cardboard baby book. And it's called Baby's First Klingon Words. And the drawings are so freaking cute. And I got a copy of it for my I have a baby niece. She's just over a year old, and so I got a copy of it for her. I thought it'd be really cute and funny. Well, I give it to my brother and my sister-in-law, and they're like, how do we pronounce this? And so I was like, it's great. You know what? I bet. And then in my head, I was like, you know what? I bet a lot of people have picked this book up and have no idea how to pronounce these words. So I had just started, I started using TikTok at the beginning of October. And I was like, I bet this would be really fun to do on TikTok. And I could just break it down into little bite size, just like do a couple pages at a time and try to keep them to, like around a minute. Some of them run a little bit longer. There's obviously that one there is like 2 minutes, is almost 2 minutes. But I don't think any of them are too much longer than, 2.5 minutes. And it's only because there's a handful of pages that have a lot of words. Like there's actually there's these pages that have a whole bunch of words.
Oh, wow.
So I actually did these pages individually. And then it teaches the numbers. It teaches the numbers 1 through 10. So I did those. So by the end of that episode, that little episode, we were all able to count to 10. Which was funny because I passed my level 1 Klingon language proficiency test, but you didn't have to know the numbers for that. So it was in doing this book was how I finally remember. I was finally able to memorize my numbers 1 through 10. Such an idiot. But it's really cute. It's really cute. It's really fun. And it's all, I posted you can find them all on TikTok. But I posted the whole thing as a playlist on my YouTube channel as well. You can find me, Joseph, at KlingonPopWarrior.com. You can find my music on Spotify, Bandcamp, Amazon, iTunes. If you just look up Klingon Pop Warrior on your favorite streaming service, you should be able to find me.
Yeah.
And I will always plug Bandcamp. If you want to support small independent musicians, if you want me to be able to continue to do what I do, buying music outright, on Bandcamp, in particular, gives musicians the best margin. As far as like they take the fewest fees, and things like that. So yeah, KlingonPopWarrior.bandcamp.com. All 4 EPs are on there. You can actually buy them to download. And you can get the CDs. I sell my CDs through there as well, and I can ship CDs. So
All right.
if you like your physical media.
There you are. And we're going to pop this right here so everybody can get a. There we go. Boom. There you go, guys. We're going to make sure that's on the page as well because, you're one of my favorites. And I love supporting what you do because, like I said, every day I was listening to your albums going back and forth to work, trying to really get into it. And then I turned my friends onto it. And
it was fun. I got to talk with, do a little like podcast thing with Mary Chifo, Shosh, Chancellor Laurel from Discovery, and they speak a lot of Klingon in Discovery, and there's there are always going to be people that somebody like came at me, and I will have none of it. If you come at anybody in the Klingon language community about the spoken Klingon in Discovery, like you're gonna just get shot down really quickly because it's actually whether you like how it sounds or not, it's actually some of the best spoken Klingon in Star Trek, period. I mean just outside of the films that Mark Okran worked on himself, the spoken Klingon in Discovery is incredible, and there's so much of it. So like Mary actually, when she got cast, she was like, I went looking for anything I could find, that was Klingon. And she's like, and I found your music. And so like she was listening to me to help her like learn pronunciation too. And Robin recommended me to folk, to the cast as they were looking for things. So, which is just very kind and very sweet. And I've always really I've taken a lot of pride in my pronunciation, especially early on. My pronunciation was incredibly important to me. So I worked really hard at that. So I'm really proud. Now that I can translate my own songs, it's like that extra. So.
Well, you have another one from Jedi Joe. Do you like Star Wars?
Do you like Star Wars as well? I don't dislike Star Wars. I guess I was born. I will frequently say I was born in the year of Star Wars, because I'm about 2-3 weeks older than A New Hope, and because it came out in May and I was born in April of '77, and so yeah, like I mean I was raised on Star Wars. I wanted to be Princess Leia when I was a kid, like, but yeah, as an adult, honestly, like I enjoy the movies. I've gone to see them as they've come out, and and I have fun. I personally could have cared less about the Phantom Menace and stuff like that. They just didn't do it for me. But they were more, to me, they felt like more like kids movies than some of the like 4, 5, and 6 did. And but I loved Rogue One, and I've enjoyed. I'm easy to please. I just if you give me pretty special effects and you take me for a journey, that's all I need in the movies. Just take me away. I'm not here. I don't care about your canon. Like just entertain me. And like to me, like Star Wars, it's space wizards. It's space wizards. Like there's Star Trek it feels more grounded in like, for me, like Star Trek feels more grounded in possibility, whereas Star Wars is fantasy. It's just fantasy in space. And that's fine. But I think it's like comparing apples to oranges.
Oh, it definitely is. It definitely is. We've had these debates so many times over and over again, and it boils down to, like you said, you really can't compare the two because they're two different genres.
They really are. Yeah.
So, how long does it take you to get into full Klingon gear?
I am getting much more proficient at it. First of all, I have a set of ridges that just has some elastic on them. So I've got that set that's like my quick and dirty set. So like when I do like TikToks and when I do TikToks and stuff like that, I'm usually just throwing those on, and I have a wig that I can throw on top really quick. So it's really just about painting. I just have to like paint on my face and, do my lips and my eye makeup and stuff like that. When I do the full, like when I actually do like the full prosthetic and stuff, I still don't do a lot of blending. Mostly because when I sing in particular, I sweat a lot. So it maybe, if I am paying attention to what I'm doing and like have like, and am kind of like under the gun a little bit, I have like a whole method to like an order of operations for like the order that I put like the adhesive on things and stuff like that. So I can, if I really have to, I can be like in full makeup and costume in 30 minutes. I prefer for it to take me 45 minutes to an hour.
I can understand that.
Just especially too as I've gotten older, and when I put in my contact lenses, it's harder for me to put my eyeliner on because I'm getting more farsighted or sorry, I'm getting more nearsighted. So when I put my contacts in, I'm trying to like get in the mirror to like, and I can't see it. It's really funny. So yeah, I have to like, it's old people problems now.
You have Mark asking you, do you see Star Trek having more shows that will have more Klingon presence in the future?
Ooh, dude, I don't know. One thing I would actually really like to see, I would really like to see Klingons in Star Trek Discovery now, because like I'm personally interested because they're so far in the future now. I'm like, what do the Klingons look like now? Like, and I'm excited about it. Like, I'm not mad. I was never mad about it. I was never mad about it in the first place. Like for me, like when I saw the Klingons in Discovery for the first time, I was like, oh, they are terrifying. And like, and I'm thinking to myself, no wonder Kirk is like, they're monsters, and they are like, like Klingons were like the boogeymen. They were like, the monsters under the bed. And like when you see those Klingons in that first season of Discovery, it's like, oh, damn, like they are scary. They are real scary. And so I thought that was cool. I totally want to know, like, what happened to the Klingons? Did they, like, where are the Klingons in this future? We've got Orions, we've got all the, we've got Andorians, like, where's the friggin' Klingons? So there's that I want to know. I don't know did they all die or what? Ooh, I don't know. I want to know too. I hope that we, what I really want is the Section 31 show. I really want the Section 31 show with Michelle Yeoh, because Michelle Yeoh is like a goddess. And so I want that show. But I don't think we're ever going to get like the Captain Worf show that, I don't know. I don't think we're ever going to get a Klingon show. But I sure do hope we see more Klingons in any of them. I mean, you get Klingons in Lower Decks. They've been in Lower Decks. They've shown up in Prodigy. So like they're putting them in the cartoons, like both the one for kids and the one, and the one for adults. And yeah. So I think, we have to, maybe like, I'm interested to see if we get them in Strange New Worlds.
Oh, yeah.
Like, Are we going to get them in Strange New Worlds? That'd be fun.
Well, we got the Gorn, and they really did a great job on that.
Oh, they were friggin' terrifying too.
You
Holy
know,
crap.
sliding all around the things and coming out. I was like, okay.
And
And
we just
I
like
really,
chucked them on a planet and gave them little gold dresses to wear. Like, it's almost insulting for how terrifying they were.
so what do you think of Strange New Worlds?
I mean, look. Anson Mount. I'm sorry, if you are a living, breathing human being and you do not find that man ungodly attractive, I don't care. Like, good Lord. Like, he could read the phone book to me. I don't care.
Look,
The minute he walked on the screen in Discovery, I was like, whoa.
you know, that kept me going when I was watching Discovery. I was losing kind of interest in it, and then he came on. I'm like, Pike. Oh my God, we have Pike, and he kind of resembled Pike, but he took his own twist with it. And then I was really excited to hear that he had his own show, and I was like, wow, I love this guy. I love the way his style of command. I love the way, like you said,
Yes.
I discovered him on Hell on Wheels.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, damn, that's a dude's dude right there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And when you see him in person, like, he's a dude's dude in person too. I think for me, what I find so compelling about Pike is especially because of you know, Discovery, when he knows his fate. And when you know, when we as the audience, like, that's the first thing I remember when we first met him, I was like, wow, we know what happens to this guy. Like, you know, and so I remembered watching, you know, the show early on, and, you know, when he came on, and was just like, wow, what is the story? What is the story? How do we go from this incredibly strong, charismatic leader to a man in a chair that, you know, blinks once or twice? Like, what is that? And then when you find out that he ends up knowing, like, you know, when he discovers his fate, like, what a gut punch. And then to just see him say, I still have a job to do, and my time is going to come when my time is going to come. And, like, and you know that he honestly doesn't even have that long in the, really, you know, it's, so I find it incredibly compelling. And I think, like, as a character, he's fascinating. It is truly, Marky Mark, it's that freaking hair. I just love the memes. Oh my God, the hair memes, because that season of Strange New Worlds, like, his hair was stupid. It was like every episode, I thought it was just me at first. I'm like, I remember leaning over to my husband and being like, is his hair getting higher in every episode? Like, it became like a freaking caricature of itself by, like, and then they, like, tapered it back again. I'm like, okay, they must have gotten a note about that, because this is just out of control. And then, like, you see the memes, like the Johnny Bravo comparisons and stuff like that. I'm like, yeah. Somebody over at hair and makeup was really screwing with everybody.
Yeah.
Oh, did you find the meme?
The hair.
Yeah. The hair.
No, I just
that's not even that
about,
bad.
like,
That's pretty tame.
Right?
Yeah. I loved
Oh
what
my gosh,
like.
I don't know if they got it.
Do they have that? God,
That one.
That's not too bad. They're starting to get a little. Oh yeah, here we go. Here we go. Getting a little taller. Oh,
I do love that you know, Pike out in the wilderness, cutting wood, and then we see him with the young lady. and I love that green.
Yes.
Killing
Oh,
it.
he looks so. God, he is so handsome. Ugh.
Yeah.
Ich cool. Ich cool Pike.
And there it is again.
God, that just. Oh, that jawline. Ah. Ah. I am
Well, he's
married, but
definitely,
damn.
he's definitely a captain's captain. You know what I mean? Even as a dude, I'm sitting here going, you know what? Yeah, that's the
Yeah,
guy.
I'm
That's the
sorry.
guy.
I'm sorry. I don't know anybody who has seen Captain Pike and has been like, nah, there's better.
You know that my wife and I like lower decks. How
Oh,
about
I
you?
love Lower Decks. Lower Decks is brilliant. All of the stuff they managed to cram into that show. I mean, the jokes. There's so many just the visual jokes alone. Like, you could pause every 2 seconds and catch something else. Like, it's insane. I know a lot of people aren't into sort of like, it's kind of fast. Like, the dialogue is fast, it moves really quick. But god damn, I love that show. It's good. It's well written, it's clever. They clearly have a love of Star Trek. I mean, to me, their love of Star Trek bleeds through every episode. Yeah.
They have an episode with Martok in it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I haven't seen that episode, but a group of friends of mine, they were getting together and they were like, dude, we're role playing Lower Decks. We want you to come in. It's like, where is it going to be? It's too far for me to get out there to get with my role playing friends. But the fact that it's transcended from TV and now we have people already in cosplay, already role playing it, means it's doing well.
Oh my gosh. I love the uniforms in Lower Decks. They're so good. The characters are just like delightful. I love Mariner. I love Boimler. I love Tendi. They manage to be so genuine and wholesome while still being super irreverent but just I just find it's just a breath of fresh air. I feel like Lower Decks for me is just such a breath of fresh air. And it's clever storytelling, and they can do so many fun things that you can't do necessarily live action, or they can push the boundaries.
You got he still has to check out Prodigy.
Yeah.
Come on, Jedi Joe, you can do this, sir.
It's so fun. There are a lot of people who, they say that it kind of takes a few episodes to find its feet, and I don't disagree. It's got a lot to establish because none of the main characters are Starfleet. And and it doesn't even take place like that opening sequence that those opening first handful of episodes, they're even learning what Starfleet is.
Yeah.
They don't have any like point of reference, and I think that's really beautiful. But the fact that they end up managing to truly like embody the ideals of Starfleet and the bonds and the friendships and their desire to do what's right, in pretty terrible circumstances for all of them. Like, when you meet them, they're in really awful circumstances, but their hearts are so, they're just lovely. And Rock Talk is just such the giant. She's so precious. And of course everybody loves Murph, especially in the first half, when he's just like little blobby goo. So
Katala, you had a question?
Oh, kind of. Just going back to when Pike went to Borath to get the crystal. Would you have done that?
oh my gosh,
Would you want to know your future?
I don't know.
And is it set in stone or can you change it?
Right. That's the, there's that, and is, if you know what's going to happen, can you change it? And part of me really hopes that no. Like, as much as I love Pike, part of what makes Pike so compelling is, and I think the way that the writers can even write him now, part of what makes him so compelling is the fact that he knows he's on borrowed time.
Yeah.
And his time is, or at least that his time is limited. So there is part of me part of me is like, it would be kind of nice to know, like, just so that I could make sure to, not waste a single moment.
Yes.
But that's also part of the reason why I love, Klingons. And for me, as somebody who, who has depression and anxiety, and I'm pretty, I try to be pretty open about that, and, and what I've done to work through it. For me, cosplaying as a Klingon and singing in Klingon, and even performance in any capacity, it's a chance for me to live very in the present and ground myself in the moment. Because, and for Klingons, they have to be. It's when your motto as a people is, today is a good day
It's a
to
good
die.
day to die.
Like, that's really powerful. And, when you think about the fact that, like, no, I have to live every moment like it might be my last one.
Yeah.
And that the battle is here. And I just,
Well,
yeah.
I jumped back into Klingon only because I served in a combat position in the Army. So that's my way of dealing with things, is to seize life with a passion and don't waste it.
Yeah. Are you able to let us know where the show is heading in the future? I can't. Honestly, I can't. Even if I wanted to, I couldn't. I do not know where Prodigy's going. I have not seen any scripts. The only thing that I did for season 2 was, it didn't involve me needing to see a script. So, yeah. So I have no idea where it falls in the season. I have no idea, it's just all of a sudden it's going to be like, hey, there's that cool thing I did. And then now I can talk about it. So, yeah. All I can tell you is that there is at least a little bit of Klingon in there. That's all I know.
So the other good kids book is that one.
Yep.
It's in English and yes.
Oh yeah, where could we get that?
Sleep well, little wolf. Yep.
This one?
Is that one on Amazon as well?
It is, and you can download the translation so you can have it read to you before you go to bed.
Nice. Maybe I should get a copy of that. Maybe that should be the next one that I read.
That would be fun.
On my thing.
So the one that you're doing is also on Amazon as well as that one.
Yes.
Yes. This little one, the Baby's First Klingon Words, you can definitely get on Amazon.
This one too.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna have to get one because my Klingon is out the window. It's been many a year since I've done anything in Klingon. Katala actually got me back into it because I was about to give up. Get rid of the page, and then I met her, and she resparked no interest, and boom.
I dragged him kicking and screaming back to Klingons. We have chocolate. We have coffee.
Yeah, exactly. Yuchin coffin. Hey.
You also have this on Twitter. I mean, not Twitter, excuse me. Twitch.
Yes.
Your gaming channel.
Yes, I stream on Twitch a couple days a week. It's true. I do Star Trek Online and whatever floats my boat on Tuesday nights. I actually spent most of it, it took me almost 18 months of playing. So I started streaming regularly in the end of 2020. And I finished playing through all of the new story content, and so, or like, I got myself caught up to the story content as it was releasing in like the middle of, God, it took me like 18 months. It took me a long time. So I think it was like near the end of 2021, beginning of 2022 maybe.
Uh-huh.
So now I've just been like I'm learning and doing TFOs now. So the task force operations, which are, if you're not familiar with Star Trek Online, but you've played like other MMOs, it's kind of like the dungeon runs of the Star Trek Online universe. They have things called, there's a lot of like end game stuff now that I'm working through, building up my reputation and building, doing my endeavors and stuff like that. So I'm kind of in like the grind phase right now. But I've started I've started recording a series of videos with a guy who is in the Star Trek Online community. And the two of us we're basically creating a series of beginners videos. I'm creating the videos that I wish I could have found when I started playing Star Trek Online. Because there's so much content out there for people who are like, their ship builds and 45 minutes worth of like, use this console and do that, but like, there's really not a lot of content out there for beginners. And beginner players and or even just like really casual players who maybe you only have time to play for a few hours once a week. And like, you're suddenly 6 months in and you're like, what the heck is this? Like, and the in-game tutorials, like, they kind of reach a point where they stop. And there's a lot of stuff that if you weren't there when it came out,
Mm-hmm.
you're just not going to know what it is or what its function is or how it works, so what it's supposed to do, what's the value. So we're really going in and we're doing this video series that's like, each episode is kind of breaking down, like, we're breaking down the character advancement, we're breaking down bridge officers, we're going to talk about the reputation system, let's talk about, and just like work our way through. Hey, do you want to know how to move stuff around in the GUI? Like, what do all these buttons do? I'd been playing for almost 2 years and I didn't realize there was a button at the top of the screen that would take me out into sector space. Like, stupid crap like that. So yeah, I'm really excited. We've got like 4 done. There's a lot to go. I actually have to finish my outlines for our next recording session. But I think that when it's done, they're going to be fun. He's really, I'm working with Aries Productions. He's a very personable Scottish dude. And so, yeah, he can really kind of like break stuff down. He's really good at kind of breaking it down, even though he's a very long time experienced player. He's really good at like breaking things down for a beginner.
So do you have a fleet, or you're doing everything by yourself?
Technically I do have a fleet. We are the Purple Fleet. All of my ships are purple. It started as a joke and now it's just what I do. I make purple ships. And so, yeah, so we're the Purple Fleet. So yeah, and we're very like low, we're very low pressure. Like, you come, contribute, don't contribute. You just want to like figure out what it all does and then quit and, and join another one, but have like a little bit of experience under your belt. I don't care. That's fine. Like, I honestly, I created it to learn. And, I'm contributing to it. I'm kind of soloing my own fleet at this point. Like, but I just don't have any expectations of people contributing resources. But if you want to join my little Star Trek Online fleet, let me know, and contribute some resources and help us grow a little bit. But yeah, there's also armadas. We're not part of an armada or anything like that. It's just like a nice chill, like.
Well, I didn't even know they had armadas. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm just now getting back into the game. We got it when it first came out. We played the beta.
Mm.
And I was so new to gaming online that when I thought that, we had the beta, I thought we had the game.
Right.
Then when the game dropped, I lost everything and had to start all over.
Oh.
And I got
Oh, that's brutal. They definitely, one of the things that I love about Star Trek Online is it's old. And I think a lot of the base code is really old, and so, they're slowly working on refreshing things, but there's a lot of stuff that's just, they would have to completely rebuild the game from the ground up to fix certain things or make them a little less, or make them a little more intuitive, and it's just never going to happen. Like, I don't think it'll ever happen. But at the end of the day, it's also free to play. You can grind yourself to great gear and, and all of that, and never spend a dime. I don't mind putting money into it because, like, I don't play any other MMOs anymore. That's the only one that I'm playing right now. So I kind of like mathed it all out, and I was like, well, you know what? If I spend a couple $100 once a year during one of the big sales, I get I'll get all the get a bunch of bonuses because it's the sale time, and I get to, if I math it out, what I would have spent on playing Final Fantasy 14 or World of Warcraft or, whatever, it's the same. I would have spent the same amount of money, but I'm just doing it at one time instead of, spreading it out over a year. So, but
definitely. Yeah. I can understand
they do good sales.
We're just now getting back into it. I've got, of course, Katala. I got my friend Bishop getting ready to bring his ship back out of mothballs, and I lost my account due to a fact that I couldn't get back into an old email. And
oh no!
So everything I had was lost. But
did you try reaching out to support?
Oh God, yes. Oh God, yes. I had the Enterprise F class ship.
Oh.
And I had, because we went to the 50th anniversary of Star Trek, and they gave out the original cast members as crew members. You could switch them out. So I had all that. I had that. I had a Klingon ship called the Feklar.
Yep. Well, I have some, if anybody is in chat and plays, let me know. I do have some codes from Mission Chicago. I don't know if they're still good, but I have some cards with some codes on them from that, and I would be happy to share some codes with you. I don't have a ton of them, but if you and Katala, if you guys
definitely
let me know.
I'll
shoot you some codes, and I'll let you know what the instructions are on how to redeem them. They are PC codes. Specifically, they are PC codes. They're not. So if you're playing on a console, you can't use these. But yeah.
I'm only playing on my PC. That's where I started out, because I bought the it was $100, and it came with the little gold badge. And then I think less than a year, it was in the bin for like $9.99, and my heart was broken. My heart was broken because diehard Trekkie.
Yep.
You can throw a rock and hit a Star Wars fan, but finding a Trekkie fan is hard. It is really hard.
I do feel like they are less. I was actually surprised. There's a few at my current job who, when they found out what I do in my free time, were like, "What?" So I'm surprised. They come out of the woodwork when you just have to. I just own it. I'm like, I'm a nerd. Like, But like, hi, you know what? I took my fandom and my fan creation, and I parlayed it into a screen credit with the Star Trek show.
Yes.
What are you gonna, come at me? Like, you can't hurt me.
Well, I also saw a YouTube video of you singing on the Star Trek cruise.
I did. That was for I hustled the ship. I hustled the talent show. The ship talent show. I did the cruise. I went on it just as a fan. Like, I was just a fan. I paid my money. Like, they got my money. It's a ton of fun. Honestly, I would say if you've got to spend, money on airfare and hotel and the ridiculous amount of money that Creation Entertainment is going to charge you for badges for Star Trek Las Vegas, take that money and go on the Star Trek cruise. It's one of the best experiences. It is, hey, you can't, it is just, I don't know. I can't even describe it. I can't, it's so hard to describe the feeling of it's like the last night of the cruise. And you're like, I'm just going to wander. I've got a drink in my hand. My friends have all gone to bed. They're already changing the ship over for the next cruise. I'm just going to go wander the ship while I finish my drink and walk through the casino. And the only people in the casino at, 11:30 p.m., midnight, whatever it is, are the staff for the ship. And then a bunch of people around the craps table. And the people around the craps table are Garrett Wong, Dr. Aaron McDonald, Ethan Peck, Kenneth Mitchell, like, are hanging out playing craps. And it's like, and you're just standing there watching them, like, because it's midnight and there's nobody around and they're just playing craps. And like, you get into an elevator and there's LeVar Burton and Jonathan Frakes. Everybody's got to ride the same elevators. It's a cruise ship. You can only go in so many places. It's a very unique and fun experience. And, yeah, I highly recommend it. So yeah, I did it. I went 3 years in a row. We got super discounted passes the first year. Like, we got in really last minute, like only like a month or two before the cruise. I was like, this is so cheap. I told my husband, I was like, we should go. It'll be fun. We need a vacation. And so we did, and we had so much fun before we got off the cruise. We did like the advance purchase for the next year, and we did that. We weren't going to go then. We were only going to do it the 2 years, and then they announced that Kate Mulgrew was going to be on the cruise like the next year, and I was like, but it's Janeway. So and she doesn't do a ton of conventions, so yeah. I was like, can we please baby? so we ended up getting, and that was 2020. And we got that cruise, the 2020 cruise, and that's where I think that video that you probably saw is from that cruise. That cruise was the first week of March in 2020. My husband ended up not being able to go because he had gotten back from a business trip and had a fever. I was fine. We still don't think he had COVID at that point. Even though it was just starting to like
come out and everything.
It was really like, it was starting to pick up some steam. He's still pretty sure it was just a really terrible sinus infection, but they wouldn't let him on the boat. There was no way he was going to be able to get on the boat. So he ended up having to stay home.
Oh.
And, but he was like, go. Originally he was going to still try to make it. So like I flew down, I did everything, and he was going to like see if he was feeling better and then get his flight moved. And he was feeling worse, and he's like, just go. Like, I'm like, I can get on, so I went on the cruise. We had other friends who were on the cruise, so I wasn't like by myself, but, yeah, it was, and then came back and it was a new world order and you couldn't get toilet paper. And, it was like, we came back from that. And honestly, I'm surprised more people and like people couldn't get off cruise ships like 4 days later. Like, you know, we were so lucky. I just we were so lucky. The but that was that year I did that talent, the ship talent show. I was like, oh, I'll go sing a song in Klingon. So the first year I did Love is a Battlefield, and I just ended up doing it a cappella. The next year I was better prepared, so I did Don't Stop Believin', and you can find video of me doing Don't Stop Believin', I think, out there. Jason Isaacs was one of the judges for that. I screwed up the words to the song because Jason Isaacs was like 10 feet away from me, and he's an unsettlingly handsome man. And then the My Heart Will Go On. I did My Heart Will Go On on the 2020 cruise, and what was so funny was we didn't know who the judges were going to be. So we're all standing backstage, like all the people who were participating and had signed up, or we're all backstage, and they announced the judges, and they rise up from like a lift on the under the stage, and it was Mary Chieffo, Kenneth Mitchell, and Roxanne Dawson. So it was 3 Klingons judging the competition, and I was like, I'm gonna win this. So, but yeah, I won or tied for the win every year that I did it. I'm like, why? Let me do a set for you. Like, hire me. Can't get him to hire me. No. Like being a DC fan now. Seriously. Oh, whose video is this? Oh my gosh. Oh, I wish he'd sent me this video. I was messaging people trying to get people's videos. It gets better.
Look at that.
It was so windy. When the judges all realized I could sing, they were like, what? That's my favorite, is when I get up on stage and people are like, oh, great, here's a weirdo in a Klingon costume that's going to sing a song. And then I open my mouth and start singing. They're like, oh, she can carry a tune. Yay.
You are very good at that. Definitely. That, I mean, like I said, it was one of the things I couldn't find, you know. I mean, I could find some Klingon music, but it was kind of very operatic and whatever, you know, nothing that I could really, you know, get into. Right. But you were doing pop songs that we all love and know, and that was like, boom, yes.
I am not an original thinker. Like, I'm no genius over here. But like, it blew my mind when I realized that nobody else was doing it. And like, or if they certainly weren't pronouncing it correctly if they even bothered to get a legitimate translation for it. And so I was like, I want to get good translations, and I want to get, and I want to pronounce it correctly. I'm not going to break up words in weird places. I'm going to use every ounce of training that I had from singing opera back in when I took voice lessons, to singing in covers bands when I was in my 20s and, you know, and 20s and early 30s. Like, you know, being able to own a song, like, you know, takes that you didn't sing originally or you didn't write. Like, does take work. It takes effort to, to try to put your own twist on it, and things like that. And definitely the time I spent in covers bands helped. It helped a lot to be able to think outside the box when it came to arranging, arrangements and working with musicians and then singing them and giving them my own twist. So, yeah.
What do you think about your convention schedules? I mean, how often do you get to go out? And because we have a few locals here in Virginia, do you ever think you'll get out this way?
I love going to conventions. For me, I'm lucky now. I have a day, my job that I can work anywhere. I work from home. So as long as I can get an internet connection, I can work anywhere. So that's nice. So it's not so much a problem with, my job anymore, kind of being a problem, or, where I can't get away. But travel isn't cheap, and that's really where things become. That's where I run into things. I was really lucky. I do technically have a booking agent. So like he is out there, trying to get me stuff, but I do really like working. I like small fan run conventions. That's where I cut my teeth. And I know that they don't have a ton of money. But I'm going to be at MarsCon in Minneapolis in March. I'm excited. Bonnie Gordon's going to be there, so I'm going to get to be at another convention with her. She was a ton of fun. They have a really nice music track up there. I'm working on, not this year, but I'm hoping in 2024 that I will get to go to Trek Long Island. So fingers crossed on that one. I've been in touch with the showrunners for that. I am going to be in Lincoln, Nebraska in April, there's a little fan run con there called Constellation. So I'm going to be there. I'm excited about that. One of my brothers lives in Lincoln with his wife and my niece. And so I'm going to get to take my niece to her very first convention, and
nice.
Aunt Jen is going to be a guest. So it's going to be, so I'm excited about that. And then, I'm working on, hopefully, I'm actually going to be talking to them tomorrow. So tentatively, I'm working on trying to, there's a newer, it's like a creator con in Springfield, Missouri, which is not too far from Branson. It's like 45 minutes north of Branson in the Ozarks. And it's called Tremendicon, and I am hopefully going to be talking to them tomorrow to see what that's the beginning of July. So like I'm working on it, and it's, for me, it's really just about, can I get there easily? How much of my travel is going to be covered? And stuff like that, because I'm on streaming services and stuff like that. But like, if you don't know, when you stream music on Spotify, every stream is like a fraction of 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 a penny. Yeah. It takes like 1,000+ streams to get, it might even be more with Spotify. Other streaming services are fewer. But it takes a bare minimum of 1,000 streams or 1,000 listens to get $1 from, from Spotify. So like, I'm not making, everything I have gets either donated that I make gets donated to charity or gets dumped back into the project, because I want to stay in the good graces of CBS Paramount. Like, they're very kind. I do not want to lose my house. They have better lawyers than me.
Yes.
But like, yeah, when it comes to travel, like my day job is what funds my travel, and but I also have a mortgage, so like it's
Totally understand that. That's one of the things, because I was always wondering how they they fly these guest stars in here and everything else. I was wondering, do they have to pay for that? Because that could get a little
Yeah.
pricey, going back and forth.
Some folks, like, I know there are some people who do, like, they'll fly standby. They either have friends in the industry or they were, flight attendants. A lot of people in the industry are flight attendants because they can, finagle their schedules a lot. And then the benefits, the perks that come with that are, free flights and, and stuff like that. But, you're at the mercy of whatever's available too. So yeah, like, a lot of times, like, the conventions will fly people in. I'm willing to drive places too, like, especially because then I can bring my merch and stuff like that easily. But we also, like, my husband traveled, he used to travel extensively for work. So we have, like, some of, like, a higher level United, so we can get more perks with United Airlines and stuff like that. So I don't mind, I don't mind flying. It's just harder to bring all my crap with me. Like, takes a lot to be a Klingon. It's a lot of luggage. It's a lot of luggage. Even if
I hope we can somehow get you down here to do one of our matter of fact, we just had MarsCon, and TideWaterCon is coming up in May. But I would love to try to, talk to some of them people to get you down here, because your performances are.
The one thing that I think has really helped is because I have the credit, the Prodigy credit now. I'm really grateful for that, because it sort of elevated the legitimacy of what I was already doing, which, as far as I was concerned, was perfectly great and awesome and fun. But now that I can also say I sing pop and rock songs in Klingon, and I'm the Klingon language consultant for for Star Trek Prodigy, it's like that, like, feather in the cap that, like, helps. It just helps add that little, like, it helps get a convention's attention. Really, at the end of the day, I have more value to them as a guest potentially, and that's I'm fine with it. One Klingon group in New Jersey, Pennsylvania area. Yeah, there's Klingon groups. There are Klingons all over. They're everywhere.
Yeah,
I'm the only one out here.
In Reno, there's only one Klingon in Reno.
Save me.
Well, I definitely I love what you do. You got, especially after having you on the show, I was already a Prodigy fan, but now, I go through it now, and I'm like, we had her on the show, and now she's on TV. Look.
Yes.
So it's
like,
always
there's my name in credits. It makes me so happy. My friends will, like, watch the credits and be like, "There's Jen's name," and I'm like, "Thanks."
It's always great to have someone who furthers the Klingon culture, and now you're doing the videos for the baby book and everything else, and I'm definitely gonna grab me one of those, because I have a grandson who's just now learning to talk.
Now's the time. They were teaching my niece, like, French and German and Spanish. Like, they teach her Spanish at daycare. They do, like, all these other, and I'm like, how about some Klingon?
It's definitely the thing, man. Me and Katala have been going back and forth with the languages and stuff like that, because I have the original from Mark Okran, the cassettes.
Oh, Power Klingon?
Yeah, Power Klingon.
Power Klingon and Conversational Klingon?
I have both.
Oh, man. You need to, you need to get those, like, transferred to, like, MP3s.
Yeah. You
You can't get them anymore.
That's the best part about it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So I just love the fact that that was a thing that was brought out, the language, you know, and it's now um, it was taught in the university at one time. I don't know if it still is, but
Klingon,
yeah.
there's, usually what ends up happening is if the college has a linguistics program, some of them will teach like a course in Klingon. It's usually a course. Usually, what happens is they'll do a course in constructed languages, or they will use constructed languages as a means to teach linguistics concepts. And so yeah, I'm really hoping there's a university, I think in Arizona, where the one of the professors there like found me on TikTok or something like that, and had commented on one of my videos, and I was like, hey, like I this is what I do. Like, and when she realized who I was, she was like, "Oh my gosh, I love your music. We teach, I've used it in a class, And I'm like, "I'd be happy to come and talk to your students. Like, I'm not a linguist. I'm not a linguist by any stretch of the imagination. Like, practically a certifiable idiot. I've got a degree in theater. But like I could be happy to come and talk about the language, or and my process with translation, whatever you'd like. So I hope that that's going to happen. I think that that's supposed to happen in March, if it's going to happen. So
Oh, wow,
so
nice.
yeah, they definitely do. There are colleges out there that do it. So.
Wow.
There's a great movie too that Mark Okren helped produce called Conlanging, I think it is. Conlanging movie. Is that the one? Yeah, Conlanging, The Art of Crafting Tongues. It's a documentary. I think it's on Amazon Prime. It might be like a cheap rental or something, but it's really interesting, and it's all about like constructed languages. They talk to Mark, they talk to I think David Peterson is on there. He did like the languages for Game of Thrones, and then they talk to a bunch of just like people who speak or have created their own languages for other things. I love one of the people they interviewed used a constructed language that they created for their diaries, so that their family couldn't read their diary because they were they were trans, and so they didn't have they couldn't come out, and that was the only way that they could like be themselves. But they could actually like write about their experiences in a private way, and I thought that was so beautiful. There's a million reasons why people create constructed languages, and if it's in some cases it's to live there, to be able to be authentic for a few moments in their life. So
Man.
yeah.
Yeah, that's I wanted to look for that documentary.
Yeah.
I've been, I've been going through that. I recently just saw the DS9 documentary, and I was totally blown away by that whole thing.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's hard. I was like, I don't know if it's
Yep,
there.
there
It
it is.
is. My little poster.
I
My
saw
name is in
that.
the credits on that too, only because I was a backer. And because my last name is so weird, I'm on like there's only like two other people on my line.
Oh, nice. I got to talk to Terry Farrell at a convention, and that was the first time I really got like tongue tied and starstruck. My friend actually had to hit me a couple of times, and he was like, "He's just a little nervous. Say something, man." But she was really, she gave us her insight on, working with everything else, and it was my birthday at the time. She signed my, happy birthday and everything else, and I never knew how much work went into everything that, as her character going into Klingon and everything else. And
Yeah.
how do you prepare for being Klingon? You know, especially when you go on stage and you got all these faces staring at you.
You know, for me, I just getting into the costume and just like putting on my ridges gives me just such a like, it kind of just like puts me where I need to be. I meant, I have a degree in theater, and for me, costume was always the thing that really like helped me understand how my characters moved, how, you know, and when you understand like how a person moves, you kind of understand a lot about them, I think, personally. And so, you know, like, do they carry themselves in their hips when they walk? Are they very hip forward? Are they head forward? Like what, like little things like that. And so, like, are you in tall shoes, short shoes, flat shoes? You know, like, how tight are your pants? Like, all of that. Like, it all kind of feeds in. So it's like when I'm, like, trussed up in a corset and I've got my ridges on, like, it kind of just puts me in that headspace. Just like, it's like a memory kind of thing, like, oh yeah, this is me as a Klingon. I'll often start my shows very like, you know, with the conceit, but 3 songs in, I just throw it out the window and I'm like, look, I just want to sing, let me tell you about this translation, like, let me just tell you what I did here. I lose it very quickly, and I just let my own natural enthusiasm for what I'm doing just come to the surface, and I hope that, you know, people see the genuine love, and that's what compels them and keeps them interested, is me being a goofball. So
Well, I tell you, I greatly appreciate what you've done, because you gave me a whole new love for the Klingon language listening through your music. And then, of course, going through seeing you on the Star Trek cruise. That's something I've always wanted to do anyway, too. But to actually see you transition from doing something that you just found that you loved, and now you've kind of made it into a career of doing what you're doing. And now you're, you know, you transition to that. Now you're on, you're on Prodigy doing that work, and you're still doing more.
yeah.
You know, I mean, you're a very unique person in this day and age to keep that fire alive, at least for the Klingons, and that's something that we can all be proud of.
That's good. You know, it's whenever anybody tells me that like it was hearing my music that made them want to, you know, start learning the language, or, you know, made them download the Duolingo app and start, you know, plugging away at Duolingo, and, you know, or translate their own song, or, you know, things like that. Like, I find that very gratifying. Like, people will, you know, often recommend songs to me that just aren't really my wheelhouse. I really like to stick to pop and rock songs, like very like as universal as possible. So like, I'm not going to do J-pop, or, you know, like a random metal song from Germany. Like, it's just not my wheelhouse. But I'm like, translate it, do it, just go do it. Just because it's not my wheelhouse doesn't mean somebody else can't. You can't do it. Like, go do it.
I've almost got a year in on Duolingo for Klingon.
I'm so bad. I break my streaks all the time.
I plug away at it. I try to get at least 23 lessons done a day, if possible.
That's a lot. That's too much for me.
I definitely, I started out doing it, and then I just fell off. I'm not even gonna lie, I just fell off. I wasn't, you know, I went back to the audio stuff, and I mean, there would be a time that I still play the was it Klingon, the game that became a story.
Oh,
I played that. And then I would throw the conversational Klingon in, when I go to sleep. But like my Alexa is not Alexa anymore. When I found out they had that Star Trek app, so it's computer.
Yeah.
You know, and I always try to do it in my Worf voice when I walk in. You know, my wife just looks at me like I'm crazy, but I mean, you know,
The one
I
thing
love
that
it.
I like, it took them some time, but they do have, like, now Duolingo, like, it has all the sounds. So, like, it has all the voices. Like, it's all voiced now as well. So, or it has, like,
Really?
it has voice exercises. It didn't early on, but it does now. So,
Uh-oh. We have Marky Mark.
yep.
How long did it take you to translate a song before you can record them?
It really kind of depends. Like if I'm translating a song, I really try to like sit down and focus and focus on it. Um, and if I'm and usually I find myself like when I sit down to translate, it's because I'm like, oh, I know exactly what I want to do with this. I know, like, I've found where I'm going to go with it. So once I understand kind of what my translation's going to be, because I don't do literal translations, I culturally translate as much as I culturally translate the song, along with putting it in Klingon. Um, so when I do that, it's usually I can finish in like 2.5 hours. Like I try to get the chorus out of the way first because that's one of the reasons I love translating pop music and rock songs. It's because there's a verse and then a chorus, and you're gonna have that chorus like 3 times. So it's like, great, I've got half the song translated if I can just get the chorus done. It's really, honestly, it's very motivating. It's like, look, I'm already halfway done. But the verses are where you kind of struggle, like where I find myself struggling. And then it's like, all right, what's the story I'm trying to tell here? Or what's the Klingon equivalent to what's going on? That was time after time. That's the one song that I didn't know what the song was going to be called when I started it. I actually translated all of the verses first before I translated what time after time was going to be. And it's because there's not a good grammatical way to say time after time. So I knew that it was going to have to be something different. I just didn't know what that something different was. And then as I was going through and translating the song, I'm like, oh, this is a love story. This is a love story about a Klingon who's remembering a love that she lost, and is like having this, and she's, and she's thinking about the past. It's like, okay, what is, all right, what does that mean? It's like, well, all right, I'm, and then like and then trying to keep the syllable count manageable. So it's like, well, all right, how do I say that, how do I say this idea of like, I'm remembering my love from a way back when, like, how do I say that with, 4 syllables? And that was when I discovered it's like, well, it's my heart, what's my heart doing? And I started looking up words, and I found, and I found that there was a word we had gotten not that long ago, I think, that was about, it was basically traveling back in time. And I was like, Vibhat Tikwij, my heart travels back in time. Oh, that's like, I was looking for words about time. Like, what are these, what are these things? Like, what do we have in Klingon that talks about time? And when I found that word for traveling back in time, I was like, oh, well, what can travel? My heart can travel back in time. And normally Klingon is incredibly literal. So it's really if you're saying something about traveling back in time, it's typically like literally talking about time travel. So I try really hard to use poetic license very sparingly, so that when I do use it, it is either very impactful for Klingon speakers. They are like, yes, or they're like, no, there's no other way you could have said that. I don't, and that was how Vibhat Tikwij, that became when I had my friend Alan look it over, who's somebody I really admire in the Klingon language community. He was like, I don't know how else you could have said this. And that to me was like, I was like, yes, that is very high praise from Alan. Like in that, like, he's like, you couldn't have said that any other way. That's great. And I was like, awesome. So, do you take requests? If you go to my website, KlingonPopWarrior.com, there is a section on my website it's called like they're in the navigation for song info, and there is a request. There's a request form on there, and it goes into a Google spreadsheet. And when I'm looking for new songs, that is what I refer. That's what I go to when I'm looking for new songs to translate. So, yeah. Right now, I will say I've got my 4 songs from last year that I still have to do. And this year, I think is pretty much buttoned up as far as what I'm going to be translating this year. I am finally planning on doing I've been asked about doing a holiday album for years, and I think I'm finally going to do a holiday thing. I did one of the things that I did over Christmas. I did a translation of "O Holy Night," called "O Ram Kuv," which is like "O Honorable Night." And it was basically a solstice. I turned "O Holy Night" into a solstice carol, and I was so it just made me so delighted. I don't know, like I was so pleased with how it turned out, and I was like, wow, this kind of moved me on a personal level. Like as I was translating it, I really loved how that translation sort of organically came about. And so I'm like, yeah, no, I think it might be time to do that holiday album that everybody keeps asking me about. So one of the reasons I really want to do a holiday album too, I want to do it's all public domain. Oh, yeah. I'm going to do everything in public domain. So I won't be doing things like, the Chestnut Song or things like that. It's going to be all, old Christmas carols. But it means that I don't have to worry about song rights, which are a real pain in the butt to get. So I'm going to be able to just like translate my songs and then perform them. And I think I'm going to I'm going to try to keep it a cappella, or keep the instrumentation really simple on it. It's going to be a very simple project. So
well, definitely be looking out for that.
Yeah,
that sounds awesome.
We'll see how that goes. That's the hope. But I do too much. I do too much, and I'm hoping I haven't bitten off more than I can chew this year.
Well, I have to be honest. I'm looking forward to hearing some of your new stuff that's getting ready to drop. I play most of your old stuff a lot, especially now that we've gotten the Proud Warriors back up and running legitimately. It's nice. It feels good to be back in the saddle. It's just one of those things. We had Martok on the show, and that was great. And
for your birthday.
Yeah. But it's another thing to have. It's like meeting a rock star.
Right.
I had, I downloaded your album. I have it. You know what I mean? And now I have you here on the show. It's just another one of those moments. And it's always great to have something in the Klingon fandom, because it was one of those fandoms that didn't start out very big, and then it just grew and grew and grew, and then boom, it exploded. And then we have all these people coming out doing things. Music wise, we had that one guy that did the Klingon style.
Oh yeah, that was like College Humor. I don't think it was College Humor, but it was like that translation was actually a great translation. I think Robin Stewart, who did Discovery, all the language for Discovery, I think Robin actually translated the Klingon style, but the pronunciation is abysmal.
Yeah, I was
So it breaks my heart. It breaks my heart.
well, it was one of those things that I really, seeing that, and it gave me it gave me kind of, an interlook on what I wanted to do, how I wanted to, do my, especially my Klingon stuff. But it was also too, I love playing it kind of loud and people kind of looking at me like I'm weird. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's why we made the shirts. It's a Klingon thing you wouldn't understand.
Yeah.
You know, uh, I really do enjoy what you do and your music and everything else, and um, so happy that you were able to come back with us and spend some time with us. Um,
Yes.
And thanks for me up on my first offer.
I'm
it's just,
at the end of the day, I'm a fan creator. Like, I'm a fan creator. I'm a fan first, and everything else has just been luck and perseverance. It's right place, right time, and talking to the right people, and being patient, and and so like I'm a Taurus. I have patience in spades. So like it's I just yeah, it's but at the end of the day, I'm just a fan. Like I'm a Star Trek fan who got, kind of just kept saying yes, and was like, yeah, I can do that. Yeah, I can do that. Yeah, you know what? I should do this. And that's just say yes.
well, I definitely, again, having you here is an extreme pleasure. I like I said, I'm just a big fan of your music, and of course, your work on Prodigy. Um, I never thought that I was gonna, I was like, it's a kid's show. Watch it. You'll understand when you watch. And then I watched it. I was like, whoa. And then I found out that you were attached to it, which makes me even want to watch it even more. So,
Kruvat. Man, that first Kruvat that Ella did, I was like, yes! I was so proud. She nailed that TLH sound while we in the
yeah.
recording session. I was like, "Oh hell yeah, this is gonna be great!" Like the Klingon speakers are gonna hear this and be like, "Oh, who did this?" Like, wait a minute, she said that right. Who did this? And sure enough, they did. And I was like, hee hee, it was me.
what? Get somebody else say something here. Oh, Marky Mark. He want to thank you very much for your time.
It's a
Well,
Thursday night. I'm sorry I was late.
oh no, look, I was getting myself together, trying to get back, get everything up, and then I couldn't get everything up, and I'm started to panic because lately we've been having so many issues with some of the recordings that we've been doing with, because we're tied into the Cosmic Portal, we're tied into a couple of other groups, and it's just so, I got to move this over here, put this over here, and then, like I said, everybody wasn't responding back. Who said like, "Yeah, man, I would love to meet her. I want to be on the show." Okay, cool. Oh, I can't. I'm sick. Oh, okay. All righty. And then
Hey, it's going around. I know so many people who've gotten sick over the last couple weeks. If it's just a lot of them are just regular colds, but
yeah,
some folks are catching COVID. So like, yeah, just take care of everybody. Just take care of yourselves. I say this at the end of pretty much every single stream. I'm like, take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. Like, take your meds. But really, it's about community. We're at this point where it's about community, and sometimes doing the thing that's not comfortable for you means that you're keeping somebody else safe.
yeah.
Or even in a lot of cases keeping yourself safe, because yeah, it seems like COVID right now just does not care. Rona don't care.
about
She's
nobody.
nobody.
Well, I want to thank you once again. And, I know this is a little greedy of me, but anytime that you would want to come back, we would love to have you back here. Not only streaming here, but we also put this up on Spotify. Um, but I just found this out, and I don't know why it took me so long to find out that there are other methods of streaming besides video.
Yeah.
But we put that up there. But again, I adore your music. I adore having you on the show. You're such a great guest to have here.
Well, once everybody's level 65 in Star Trek Online, we should go do some TFOs.
Well, I started back. I'm only level 4 now. I have to wake my.
You'll get there. You'll get there. Just
work
do
my
those.
way back up.
Do those.
I'm stuck in the beginning level. I killed the captain, but I'm stuck now.
Oh, you stuck? That flying the ships. That it's tough.
You gotta take out the Federation ones that are blocking your communications.
Honestly, if you have a friend who's a little bit of a in the same or is a higher level, they can always come and help you too. Because I had to have somebody help me. Pat, get through the tutorial. Once I got through the tutorial, everything else was a million times easier.
Yeah.
I was I need help. I need backup.
I'm like, what in the world? Now I can do the tutorial. I can make it through without and it's I can get through. But I tried playing Star Trek Online, I think 5 times, and I kept giving up, and I was just like, this is so dumb. I was so mad. I've never been that angry at a video game in my life. And then, I finally, that was 2020. I had some people take some, on my Extra Life stream, I think it was, or the week after, I had some people take some pity on me. And they're like, here, where are you? We'll come help you. And got me through the tutorial. And here I am 2 years later, and I'm about to make a web series about Star Trek Online. So,
nice.
You could do it. It's a pain in the butt, but you can do it. It can be done. If I can do it, anybody can do it.
Well, I'm bringing my friends online Sunday night to actually, get together and try to work as a team as we go through this. And I'm telling everybody, I hate to tell you this, but you need to get through the tutorial before we can even meet up. You got to get through that part.
Once you get through
that part, we can.
Yeah.
So we're going to try. And again, I would love to have you back on the show anytime that you are free and you want to. We'd love to have you back. You said you have your fleet for Star Trek Online. When is the best time to catch all that?
So I play Star Trek Online on Tuesday nights, and I stream it on Twitch. Although I usually am online at some point each day doing my daily tasks, to get my daily rewards. But yeah, I have a Discord server. The about section of my Twitch page has tons of links. Also my website, KlingonPopWarrior.com. At the bottom of the page, there are links for everything, all of my social media stuff and everything. There's my Discord. I have a Discord server, so people can hop onto the Discord server, and there's a Star Trek Online channel in my Discord server. And if people are online, just say, hey, anybody online or available, or hey, do we want to make we can plan to do something, and whoever's around, we can just hop online and play for a couple hours.
Awesome.
So
yeah, we Katala and I might have to swing by that way, bring my friends on over, and definitely.
But yeah,
get in a game.
Tuesday nights are a lot of fun. I've been doing usually I wrap up. I do whatever my dailies are for the day. I do my endeavors or whatever, and then I've been working on my way through the Star Trek Prodigy video game, Star Trek Prodigy Supernova. So I usually will do half the stream will be Star Trek Online, and then I'll switch over to Star Trek Prodigy, which is just a little bit more slashy slash and and puzzles and stuff like that. But it's really cute, and the voice it's all the voice over is all the actors from the show, so it's really fun. But yeah, I've got a great community, super welcoming. We do some Klingon chat, some not. Just sometimes we just bash about video games. Sometimes it just gets a little spicy. I usually am drinking wine on Tuesday nights, so you never know what's going to come out of my mouth. I swear a lot, and that's.
Well, I'm sold. I need to be there.
So yeah.
But again, I want to thank you for coming on the show.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me again.
Oh, definitely. We, like I said, I'm not trying to push, but anytime that you would like to come back, we would love to have you. Katala, anything you would like to say before we go?
Just thanks for answering my message to you the first time. I took a shot. I'm running point on trying to get people in for the podcast. So if you know anybody that might be interested, let me know and I'll be glad to extend an invite.
Awesome.
Say, come talk to us.
All right, ladies, it is time to close the show. I want to thank you once again for being here. Appreciate you and your music and everything that you're doing for the fandom.
Yes, thank you.
Uh-oh.